Hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes.
Talk that talk!
And we are here. Happy Friday to everybody out there that's our listeners on YouTube, on Facebook Live, whether you're going to be listening in on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I definitely want to thank you again for tuning in to another week of this podcast. We're going on episode 46 here, and it doesn't look like we're going to stop anytime soon. Even though we have, this coronavirus and everything that's going down, it's just very important to try and stay strong, stay positive, and, just try and do the things that you want to do. I know me personally, one of the things that I have struggled with, over this past week as far as this whole coronavirus thing has been, just the thing that every day just seems like it's the same, right? I had made a comment to my boy Jeff last week, and I said that, even though it was Friday, it just didn't even seem like it was the weekend, Like all these different, days, whether it be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they just all seemed like, it was the same routine, same thing. And, for me personally, I woke up today and I was just tired of my hair. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just me, being tired of looking in the mirror and seeing that same routine, that same scraggly hair that I had before. But I just wanted to decide to take it all off. So for those of you that aren't in on our Facebook live stream, I got the baldy now. Maybe if you want to see it, you're going to have to check out on YouTube at Talk That Talk Show. But, I'm very happy to have, this new do. I feel like a little aerodynamic now. I'm a part of the Baldy gang. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Alfonso Ray. Shout out to Jeff. My boy Josh Williams. I hope you really do that cooking page, brother. Shout out to Matt Kuyumjan, Nihir Trivedi, and David Ratti, and my brother, all on our Facebook live stream. So thank you for tuning in. But, one of the other things that I've had to deal with, and as we've seen with this whole coronavirus thing, is the fact that a lot of people have been losing their jobs and have been dealing with this unemployment. Now, for me, I thought that I was going to be, one of those people that never had to worry about unemployment, right? I thought that with my college degree, it should set you aside, right? That should, that's why we spend all that money and get into, student loan debt and, try and give ourselves that higher education so that can set us up so that we don't have to have unemployment, right? And at least that's what I thought. That's what, we were brought up to think, right? But, now we see in this pandemic where you're now trying to label people as essential and non-essential, right? And the crazy thing for me was that, even on the last episode, I had told you all how thankful I was to have a job and have a place where, they created work from home opportunities for us because of the fact that people were not having jobs. And now I'm coming into a situation where, not even a day or two ago, the nonprofit that I work for, just told us straight up, they were going to furlough us, which was, pretty much like being laid off, and that they were going to have to try and restructure things, and, our jobs weren't guaranteed, and we are eligible for rehire. So, it took me a little while for that to sink in at first because, I was just almost in shock. But and I talked to my boy Lewis about this, but it was almost like a desensitization as well, too. Because, over this past year, I felt like I've been dealing with so many things, whether it was my personal life, whether it was with, the job, whether it was with just trying to personally advance myself, launching this podcast. I feel like, I've had a lot of ebbs and flows and ups and downs. So, when something like this came about, it kind of almost primed me for this position, right? I was just very, ready, I felt like, Coming into this year, I thought that I was going to try and apply to some different places, but, you always got to try and think about a positive to certain things like this. And, having them tell us that we didn't have a job anymore and saying that, there's no chance that we will have our jobs back. It was definitely something to take in, and I had to really come to reality that, I am a part of the unemployed, a part of the over 3 million people in America that are unemployed. And, I think that the stigma that comes with unemployment for such a long time, it seems as if you're not working hard enough, right? Or, you're not doing your due diligence to try and have that job. And I think that this pandemic has now changed that narrative of what, unemployment is, and, how serious it is, right? I've really worked so hard to try and become a better site coordinator at this nonprofit, to try and service the kids the best that I can. And for 6 years, I have been Coach B. But now I have to literally face the reality that something that I've been primed to do for so long, I might not do ever again. There might not be a Coach B ever again. And I have to really sit and think about that, And it was definitely a tough pill to swallow, but the one thing that I really tried to do is just, like I said, stay positive and just try and take the next course of action. I really had to think about it, and I was like, well, being that I am dealing with this unemployment, I got to figure out how to file for unemployment. So that was one of the things that I had to do, was look online and look in every state, depending on how you're dealing with it, whether you're in Michigan, Detroit, whether you're in Michigan, California, Jersey, Texas. Each state has its own way of having you file for unemployment. So it's definitely important for all of my viewers out there not in New Jersey to just check with your state and see, what is your course of action, or how is it that you're supposed to apply. And for us here in New Jersey, for those that don't know, there is an easy application online, and I was able to complete that and hopefully give myself, and it was able, it kind of picked me up a little bit, because I felt like, after I just got on a conference call where just a day ago we were talking about, future plans and what we were going to do as far as working from home, to now being told that you don't have a job anymore and you should definitely look for alternative, jobs. And I think that, like I said, it was just really tough to understand, but at the same time, I really had to just take that next step forward and just say, hey, this is what's happening, and, I got to take the right steps to get past it, And not only with filing for unemployment, Uncle Sam doesn't care about, if you don't have a job, you still got to pay those student loans. And the one thing that they did do was that for federal loans, they have, froze those student loans, so we can at least, try and pick yourself back up a little bit that way too. But for those people out there that do have private loans, that doesn't apply for federal, right? So one of the things I had to do is I had to research and look up and see that there were certain papers that you need to sign and need to get so that you can have that deferment for your student loans. So, for this, how can I say this, unemployment, I had a lot of uncertainty as far as what I was going to do as far as job-wise, and, how I was going to pay these student loans. And then, you also have to think about it from another perspective for those people out there that have lost their jobs, right? You have to really come to terms with, do you want to then try and find another job in one of the essential areas, right? Now, it may seem easy. You may say, okay, yeah, I can go to ShopRite, or, I can go to Whole Foods, or, UPS, and I can work there. And, but I had to really think about this for a second, because, I'm not somebody that lives by myself. I live with my mom, my dad, my brother, and, everybody can be susceptible to this coronavirus. I think the biggest thing that, a lot of people take for granted is the fact that, oh, I feel good, or I don't have any symptoms. That doesn't mean shit. If you're asymptomatic, you can still carry that, right? So, one of the things that I thought about in terms of trying to find alternate employment and trying to get into this, how can I say, essential job search, is the fact that, now I have to think about whether I'm going to put my family at risk from being an essential worker, right? And I think it's just so crazy to think that, we live in a society where, it's so money dominant, or, it's, we're so dependent on a monetary thing to make us go farther and to try and, get us to survive. And, when you have to really put into perspective, what do you value more? Living and sustaining a life with money, or do you value your own life, right? So you can't live without money, but then even without money, can you even live, So it's that interesting quagmire that, I've had to try and decipher over these past couple of days of, do I really want to, put myself out there in danger's way? Because, this virus is very serious. I mean, for those people that don't understand, I live in New Jersey, and this is the second biggest place for the coronavirus here, in the country. We're right next to New York City. And one of the things my father said was, for all these people that, were getting shut down in New York City, a lot of them are coming down here to Jersey, and you don't know what these people have, or, I'm just, it's very difficult. Some of your own friends, like I've been wanting to chill with some of my friends, and I've had to tell them straight up, we cannot hang out because I care about you too much, and I care about my family, So it's just really interesting to see how this has affected just every bit and aspect of life, man. And just for me personally, now having to deal with being unemployed, the main thing and why I wanted to share this, and I actually made a post on Facebook because I was, in a way I was so distraught, but I was so happy to hear all the different people that, just came to me and was like, I got your back if you need it, you're not alone. And I was so surprised to see how many other people, that I knew were unemployed or got laid off, right? When you think about 3 million, right, and you think about the numbers of how many people are infected or how many people, have it here in New Jersey, that number really doesn't resonate to a lot of people unless you're directly affected by it, right? So I think that, even though I don't necessarily have people that I know that are directly affected or that directly do have the coronavirus, I think that it definitely puts things in perspective that, we live in one of the most populous areas for this. So it just takes even more precaution from us as people to try and beat this, man. And, like I said on the earlier episodes, I definitely did not think that it was going to be as serious. But, the fact of the matter is, it is that serious. I lost my job, but the one thing that the coronavirus can't take is my spirit. You can take my job, you can take a lot of those other things, but you can't take my spirit. And that's why it's so important for everybody out there tuning in to continue to watch this Talk That Talk show. And I want to give a special shout out to my boy Peter Dunn, because one of the things that he had said in our group chat, and it's so important to have people around you that can motivate you, right? And one of the things that Peter had said to us was, it was like early in the morning, it was like 8, 9 o'clock. And Peter said, hey, what have you guys done to get better at your trade, right? What have you done better to become, better outside of this whole corona thing? And I literally took his words to heart, and I thought about it. I'm like, damn, what did I do to become better, right? And one of the things that I did today, and that I know, is that I have this podcast and I have this platform that people like to watch it on. So I really wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to take it serious. So what I did was, I took some time out and I created an Instagram channel for this podcast, and I created a Twitter. So if you want, please follow us on Instagram at _Talk That Talk Show. And then also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Talk That Talk SH1. Okay? So, when you have these situations here with, the coronavirus where you have to be self-quarantined, you can look, towards yourself, like I said before, with reading a book or playing a different game. But, outside of those things to kill boredom, you also, like Peter said, you have to find ways to make yourself a better person, to make it better at your trade, to get yourself in a better position outside of this terrible position that we're in, right? So, I took that to heart. So thank you for that, Peter, because, we have our own Instagram now. We have the Twitter out there. And one of the things that I've been very happy to see that a lot of people also have been doing in this social distancing era is that they have been doing the order from home. I think I saw my boy Joey Bishop. He had ordered something from a local pizza shop, and everybody is all on supporting these local businesses, right? So I definitely want to extend that same thing out to everybody else out there. Support your local businesses. Actually, before I came here, I gotta give a special shout out to VW Liquors. Located in Wick Plaza, Edison, New Jersey. They are considered one of the last essentials left. And if you are in New Jersey, if you're in Edison or in that area, and you need to get your alcohol, please check them out at VW Liquors, because They're one of the essentials, and they're one of our only local businesses that's still up and running. So you got to support local businesses. So, that's one of the things that we can all do as a community to try and uplift everyone else, including these small businesses, right? So to everybody out there on my Facebook live stream or listening to our show, I'm going to give you a cheers right now, all right? Glug, 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 glug. And, ooh, that's a good one. And we talk about supporting local businesses, right? So instead of getting an old Miller Lite or, a Corona or whatever else other people drink, I decided to get a local beer called the Lemonator. And I really, really love this beer. It's called the Lemonator by Cypress Brewery. If you get a chance to go to VW Liquors, go check them out. The brewery's in Edison, is right down the street from them. And, when it comes to, supporting these local businesses, you got to go all the way in. And I really like the way the Cypress, they provide a good beer, a good one, right? A lot of times you just have a beer and you feel like crap afterwards, right? This beer, I feel great. I feel like I could go for another 2-3 episodes, right? So you're welcome, Cypress Brewery, for the free promo. We got to talk about you adding as a sponsor.
Yeah.
But being that, like I said, this is still somewhat of a sports show, right? We're more than just a sports show, but we still talk about sports. One of the things that I heard about, and one of the things that we got to kind of talk about, is the fact that a lot of these major league sports are closing down. Now, I did mention before that we have the NBA, who is suspended. You have the NHL that's suspended. And these are leagues that were in the process, right? That were currently going on. You had the XFL that stopped their season. But we got to think about a league that's about to start, and you got to think about a lot of those other leagues that are about to start, and what are they going to do as far as their season, right? And the MLB season opening day, I know my boy Brian Scala was really upset because he's a huge Mets fan like I am, and we know that the MLB season is now pushed back, right? They pushed it back. They're not going to be opening on, April 1st like you normally do, but there still is some hope, because outside of just canceling these seasons or, putting an end to them like we see in the NBA, the NHL, and, all these other leagues internationally have done as well. I mean, I think we've even saw that the Olympics have now gotten suspended as well, too. But what the MLB has now introduced is that there could be a possibility that in the wake of games, this season being shortened, we're now thinking about how we're going to effectively play these games. And one of the things that was brought to my attention was that the MLB had the consideration of shortening baseball games by 7 innings instead of 9, and then also that every game would be a doubleheader. So now you're having 7-inning games that are doubleheaders, and they're not being played every day. And I think this is a very interesting, it's an interesting take, because if you think about the NBA, I feel like the NBA is not a league that's going to cut down games, from 12 minutes to like 10 or 8 minutes, right? I think that with a lot of these other sports, they're time-based, right? You have a time clock. You have a shot clock. You have some sort of elapsed time for ending this game. And I think with the MLB, knowing that they don't have an elapsed time of when a game can end, I think this is definitely a very interesting take on very shortening the games, right? So it was something I didn't even really think about. But if you think about it in terms of like a team standpoint, and you think about it in terms of managerial standpoints, now you're going to have to worry about how are your rotations going to look, right? A lot of teams are still using 5-man rotations, but if you're, playing double headers pretty much every day, now your relief pitchers are going to be going through a way much more stress, right? And now we have to think about injuries. I mean, look no further than the New York Mets. I mean, come on. Even in the midst of the coronavirus, we haven't even played a game yet, and we still got somebody injured. We got Noah Syndergaard, who will not play this season because he is going to have to get Tommy John surgery. Now, for all of us Mets fans out there, I am so upset about this because we already heard so many rumors about how Noah Syndergaard wanted to leave the Mets and how he's always wanted to be a Yankee. But now, us Mets fans really have to come to terms with, was this the last time that we see Noah Syndergaard in a Mets uniform? will it be the last time? I mean, it's really tough to see, man. And I think that, when we're looking as far as with Noah Syndergaard, one of the things that we saw was that his velocity went down. And when you have Thor, who's throwing the ball 100 miles per hour all the time, especially with the balls that are juiced now, you saw that he wasn't as effective. He was getting home runs hit off of him. He was having location issues, right? So this Noah Syndergaard was still excellent. He's still great. But he was not the dominant lockdown, shutdown guy that we've seen, when they went on that World Series run, right? So I think that this is very interesting to see what is going to happen with the Mets, because it seemed like we've always had just this carousel of players that just continue to get injured. And for the first time last year, I feel like the Yankees actually got to get a taste of that, right? But it's just so frustrating to parallel both being a Mets fan and a Knicks fan to just see continuous disappointment, right? Now, I know the Mets did go to the World Series back in 2014, but, that seems just so long ago, right? Like 6-7 years ago. So, to have all of this time where, you're wearing the blue and orange and you're having, injuries to Noah Syndergaard, you're having the Knicks who are having front office issues to where we can't even have Spike Lee come into the game without some sort of issue.
Sad.
It's very sad. And as a New York fan, especially as a New York fan without sports now, you really have to look to the future as far as what are these franchises going to look like. And even to take it not even to the MLB, but I would love to take it to the NFL real quick, because I saw on a couple social media posts from that boy Cam Newton. He's one of my favorite players that's not on the Chiefs. And it's tough to see, someone who's now unemployed. Cam Newton is unemployed just like me. Here you have the situation in Cam Newton, who for so long he took that team to the Super Bowl, and he's had so many issues with injuries. But the man continued to fight to try and get himself back. He played so many games injured for the Carolina Panthers. And now we saw that they literally just got rid of him. They cut my man Cam Newton. And that was tough, because I really like the guy. And he's somebody that did great, great things for the community of North Carolina, right? But now you got to start to think, what is going to happen to Cam Newton, right? And a lot of people initially were saying that the New England Patriots would be a great location for, Cam Newton. But, I just don't feel like, with all the different, rebuilding that the Patriots are going to have to do with Tom Brady leaving and now not having that security blanket to overcompensate for the lack of talent that they had offensively, they're going to have to spend some money in different places to try and make themselves a better team. And I just don't think that Cam Newton fits into that equation. Now, one place that I do really like and that I think is the highest odds for him to land is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I like that location for him because they have Austin Eckler, who's not a back like Christian McCaffrey, but he's someone similar to having that small, wiry, change of pace back that can catch out of the backfield. And that would be perfect for Cam Newton, right? And then also to have Keenan Allen, who's somebody who continues to catch the ball when he's healthy. So I think that would be a great location for Cam Newton, especially to be able to, to help Tyrod Taylor to become a better quarterback, right? To become better and to make that team a better team. So, and we always talk about competition makes you better, right? So I think that Los Angeles would be a great place for Cam. And especially with a lot of different teams, like you think like Miami or Cincinnati or Chicago, these would have been perfect places for him. But these are teams that already have a plan, not including Cam Newton, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what Cam really values. Does he value playing first now? Does he value being a starter? Does he value winning? What does Cam Newton want to do? And I think that wherever he chooses to sign is going to tell us a little bit more about, how he feels, right? And I think we got to give some more shout-outs here. I want to give a big shout-out to my boy Rick Chinaski. He's beaten me really bad at Words with Friends, too. So I got to step my game up. Also got to give a big shout-out to Ethan Bayer, George Murray, Antoine Jefferson, Barang Juf, my dad, Laszlo, Dante Bell, John Hoffman, Troy Anthony, Zishan Abbas. Got a lot of people here on our Facebook live stream, so I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And, this is how could I say, in a time like this, it's really, really important without the big sports and, without, some of the different things that are restricting us from having the most optimal fun that we can have, right? It's just really important to lean on your family members and just try to be, as, how can I say, just as supportive and just be there for your family, because I know me personally, not having that routine, right? So for me, I was so sad I got my About That Money. Shout out to all my my UBA bowlers out there. I know we're hurting without having the bowling here, but for me personally, having that escape or having that routine of going to bowling was something that I relied on so much, right? And I always knew that I could get through the workday if I could just get through. I'll be able to see my homies on Wednesday. I'll be able to run some love doubles. Get to throw some money away a little bit. But not having that, it's just very different. So I'm just really focused on just trying to become better, whether it is with this podcast, whether it is, with trying to, edit the resume so that I can, get somewhere better, whether it is trying to be a better brother, son, brother, son, friend to my friends out there. I see some people, I think was it my boy Joe Snow, his girlfriend told me to download this app called House Party. I don't know if anybody knows about it, but you can get on pretty much live chat with some of your friends and play different games on the screen. So, I've just found different ways to try and interact with my friends and, just stay in tune, in there with them and just trying to have some fun out there. I know me and my family, like I said, my dad's really been trying to get us to play this Catan. Hey, bring me that Catan, Dad. Bring me that Catan right here. So this is the game for those people that don't know, all right, on our stream. Catan. This is back in the days where we used to go to the trap. Shout out to Rose. He had a birthday not too long ago. Shout out to Rose. So we used to go to our buddy's house in the garage. We used to call it the trap. But we would go there. We would play Catan all the time to the point where my boy Duke Abdullah, he was hiding cards underneath his underneath his chair. We called him cheating. It's like, bro, how you gonna be stealing resources? How you gonna try and cheat in a game of Catan, right? So I thought it was really funny that my dad's really been on us to play this game Catan, because it was a game that I love to play with my buddies, a couple years ago a lot, right? So for a lot of those people out there that, are looking for a board game or looking for something different to try and play, like I said, this game Catan is something that I'm going to be playing with my fam, and I really love this game, right? It's a different version of Monopoly where, you're trading resources and you're trying to make the longest road and connect different things, and it's all probability based, right? So it was definitely a game that we've played here, and just trying to find different ways to stay, in tune and try to keep ourselves entertained. I know my book that I told you guys that I was reading is really starting to heat up, right? We're starting to find out a couple different suspects in the murder mystery. My fiction book, it just seems so crazy, right? But, I'm about 125 pages in, so I really, I found different ways to try and stay engaged, but, it's, you can't just be content with that, right? You got to continue to find different ways. If, once I finish this book, I already know the next book that I'm going to read, and I can't wait to finish this book so I can read the next one, right? Even with different games, if you have some different game suggestions, put them in the Facebook live stream. I'll try and check them out, and I'll play them with my fam, But, in closing, I just want to thank everybody, as always, for tuning in to the Talk That Talk show. Like I said, I had a situation where somebody, I think we were at the bowling alley, and somebody was like, oh, he's only got 10 subscribers. Don't worry about it. He's only got 10 subscribers. But, now to look on it now, and we're on YouTube, and we're almost at 50 subscribers on there. So if you tuned in on YouTube, thank you so much. Subscribe on YouTube at Talk That Talk Show, right? And to now see that we have our own Instagram, _ Talk That Talk Show. And then we have a Twitter, right? Talk That Talk SH1. Shout out to my boy Dennis Ward. I love that dude, man. I'm missing the bowling alley, man. I'm missing bowling with you. I'm missing hearing you say, let's go! know. These are the things that I miss, man. And I just really hope that things can go back to normal because, I definitely do miss my routine. I miss, meeting different people. I miss different, interactions with people because I'm definitely an extroverted person. So I wouldn't say that I'm, dying over here. Things are so difficult for me to stay entertained. But, we always crave that human interaction, right? So I'm just continuing to try and stay active, stay busy, stay ready, stay positive. I feel like, knowing that knowing that I'm jobless now or that I'm, unemployed, it's definitely something that was a harsh reality hit. But again, like I said, to all those people out there, we are not alone, okay? I don't want anybody to feel like, you're embarrassed because you're unemployed now, or, I don't want you to feel hopeless because, it's going to be even harder to find jobs because nobody's going to be interviewing because of this coronavirus thing, or you don't want to get into an essential job because you don't want to put your family at risk or other people at risk. So, with all those things into play, it's definitely important to just take a time to reflect, think about what's important to you, and then just make a decision with your whole heart and see what happens. I made a decision that, I wasn't going to allow whatever happened as far as unemployment or, different things that aren't making, I'm not able to do. I wasn't going to let that get me down. And the biggest thing that I want everybody out there to listen and tune in is that, whether you are unemployed, whether you're not employed, whether you're worried about going to work as an essential employee, just stay positive, do the right thing, follow the right precautions, and we'll all get through this and we'll all get out of this okay. All right. So I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, VW Liquors again, located in Wick Plaza, Edison, New Jersey. Let's go, Mets! Let's go, Mets! Cheers up the mic to that.
Glug, 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 glug.
And also we want to give a big shout out to Executive Bar and Restaurant located in Carteret, New Jersey. Prashant, I'm really thinking about you, man. I know how difficult things are, again, like I said, with the restaurant closing and, not being able to do your business. But, like I said, stay positive, man, and we're going to get through this, I promise you. And then also a big shout out to Cody Bromley at 91s.com. He's got the best acid wash apparel in the game. Even though we have the coronavirus, you can still check out online on his online store and check out some of the things that he has on that site because let me tell you, he's got some straight flames, man. And, that pretty much does it for this episode. If you're a big gamer, if you've been playing video games, this is what I'll say in closing. I've been having a lot of fun. Now, everybody that knows me and actually knows me knows that, one of my favorite video games is PUBG. I love me some PUBG, right? My friends can never get me to get off that game. But the game that they've actually gotten me to get off it to play has been Call of Duty Warzone. So, for anybody out there that thinks you're good at Call of Duty Warzone, you think that you got that Battle Royale down pat, come holla at me. My name is Barry Buckets on Xbox. You can usually catch me playing with Jeff and all the gang that's on here watching. Shout out to my boy Jesse DeVento. He loves PUBG. Thank you, man. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's such a great game. But yeah, if you ever want to play with me, he said, shout out to Ishabad Crane, my brother, one of his best friends, and my boy Ishmael. Love that dude, but I can't stay off PUBG, man. I love that game. I got to get back on it now. But definitely want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. If you want to play with me in Xbox, my name is Barry Space Buckets on Xbox. Follow us on Twitter at Talk That Talk SH1. Follow us on Instagram, _Talk That Talk Show. Follow us on YouTube, Talk That Talk Show. Pull us up. Maybe you can be one of those 50 subscribers, right? So we always streaming on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, you name it. We're streaming on it. I love everybody out there that's tuned in each week, man. I think the Facebook Live had about 20 viewers today, 25 viewers, and I'm just happy that everybody or the people that are tuned in on the show just want to spend a little bit of their time with me, all right, on a Friday night. I'm going to get this edited out. I'm going to get this tuned up so that we can all listen to this. Thank you again always to Zishan Abbas, who's doing great things, producing the music for this show. I would be nothing, without all the people that are here to support this show. This is a community event. It's been something that people can look forward to on Fridays, and I take it especially as my job during a time where there's not really much to look forward to that, people can actually look forward to on Friday nights, the Talk That Talk show. All right, I'm going to do my due diligence to continue to try and find different content that you want to hear about. I'm going to continue to let you know and be as transparent as possible so you know what's going on in my life. And, we're all going to get better. We're all going to get through this, okay? So, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. This is the Talk That Talk show. We're going to be here each and every week, so make sure you're tuned in. All right, I'll see y'all next week.